Okay, so we had a little technical difficulties. Someone pushed the stop button. So this is part 2 of Ride on Wednesday. And I was just talking blog tours and cover reveals. So moving on to the next question. Who would I have play Olivia and Ophelia if I could cast my movie? And so Olivia and Ophelia are the newest characters in the Starcross series. They are going to be featured in The Relentless Warrior. And Olivia and Jericho kind of team up. And Olivia and Ophelia are sisters, and Ophelia is sick. She's been tortured by Turlitov, and Olivia has too, but she has somehow made it through, and she is on kind of a warpath for revenge. So her and Jericho team up to go after the bad guy, and they are a featured couple in The Relentless Warrior. So if I could pick, and I'm going to post this on Pinterest later today on the Starcross page. If you, I have all of my books, all my series have a Pinterest page, and I have cast out everyone because I'd love to do it. So if you want to check that out, that's available to you. And on the Starcross, I will be adding, so for Ophelia, who doesn't get a super major role in this book because she's sick, I have down Ashley Benson. She's blonde. They're both, hey. Sorry. They're both blonde sisters. And Ashley Benson is from Pretty Little Liars. She's the blonde on that. I don't know if there's more than one, but she is a blonde on there. And then playing Olivia, I would have Isabella Miko. She is from Clash of the Titans, and she has maybe a more delicate face than Ashley Benson. Ophelia is the younger sister. Olivia is the older sister. But I just liked that about her. I like that she can look fierce while also looking vulnerable. And when you get to know Olivia, you'll realize how important that is. Because Olivia is both. She is very, very vulnerable and kind of broken after seeing her sister suffer and going through quite an ordeal herself. And then she's also fierce, and she's before this, she was in culinary school, kind of like a girl among men. Women are obviously the underdog in the culinary world. So she's used to fighting. She's used to standing up for herself and going after what she believes in, and she's going to do that in The Relentless Warrior. She's a really fun heroine. She's just determined and recognizes what she wants when she wants it. So she'll be good for Jericho. Believe me, he needs to be chased as well as chased. He's a little bit broken after Eden broke his heart. So, anyways, okay, and then going back to the original Starcross and the Reluctant King, is the magic mingling together a visible thing when couples meet and interact, or is it, they can feel it, but it's invisible? So whenever a couple gets together, Eden and Karen, their magics were always meeting, and the same with Amelia and Avalon. And for the most part, it's invisible. They can just feel it. Like, their magic is an extension of themselves, and they can feel what their magic is doing. And you're making faces. They can feel what their magic is doing and how it's interacting with other people's magic, but it's invisible until the moments get really intense and physically intense. Like, anytime Eden and Kieran were making out, their magic was like, I always described it as a color field of, flashing light and going back from her blue to his black, back and forth like that. And so in The Reluctant Warrior, the same thing with Avalon and Amelia. it's invisible until the connection between them is so intense that it personifies and becomes tangible. So then everything is colorful, and the two magics kind of struggle back and forth until they become like this combined color. So Eden and Karen's became navy blue because of his black and her blue. And the same with Avalon and Amelia, only hers was gray, I think. And his was that bright blue. So it became a pale blue after they're married. And actually I talk about that, not you, I talk about that a little bit more in The Relentless Warrior. And so that's the same, Olivia and Ophelia are human. And so it's a different take on a immortal love story in The Relentless Warrior. But I hope you like it. So there's that. And then moving on, last question, I think. Yeah, last question. Do I write my books from the first chapter to the end, or from a different part, like the middle and then on? I have never started a book in the middle. I always start chapter 1. First chapters are like my favorite thing to write in the world. And so that sets the whole tone of the book for me. If I can write a good first chapter, then I just go from there. They get the most reworked for me too. Like I always edit them over and over and over until they're good and solid, and then I just write from chapter to chapter. I've never been able to do that like skipping around thing, or like I want to write this part so I'll write it and then I'll build up to it. I can't do that. My brain doesn't function like that. Like I'm very chronologically minded. So I started first chapter and then I go all the way to the end. And the way I write, it's kind of like those pieces of the book later on don't happen for me until I get there. So if I'm not in the moment in the book, like chapter 2, I'm writing chapter 2. That's all my brain is thinking about. And then I'm not even thinking about chapter 3 until I get to chapter 3. Now, it's not always like that. Sometimes there are quotes that I like I have a notebook for everything, and I'm just constantly writing notes. And so I will write like future quotes that I want to happen. Like if I want a couple to get to a certain moment, I'll write notes about that moment, and then I will write the quote that kind of sums up what happens. And but the scene isn't there until I get there, and then I'll have to like work around that quote. How do I get to the quote kind of thing? But that's not every chapter, and it's I don't know, that's not like the majority of my writing process. Usually I write from chapter 1 to the end. The only difference is every once in a while I'll go back and add a prologue. I added prologues to every Starcrossed book except Helpless Magic. It started with her parents, and I knew that it would. But even with Amelia and the Reluctant King, I went back and added Amelia because I felt like you needed more of that. And I went back and added a prologue in Reckless Magic because actually that was advice given to me. You want to say hi? You want to say hi?
Yeah.
Hey, this is Striker. Say hi. So I hope that answers your questions. This was a fun write-in Wednesday. Can't wait until next week. Thanks for putting up with the kids. And for the 2-part videos. And we will talk later. Bye. Can you wave? Bye.